It's faithful to the recording. You get to hear all the details in the recording. As I said, the bass is just a solid foundation. Have you ever hooked up an amp and you turn on your music and you're like, the bass could be better? It seems like the mid-range and treble is more of the focus here. Well, with these amps, you're getting that big bass foundation. You're getting the solid weight to the music. These are the definition of magic to me. Hey guys, today we're going to talk about my favorite amplifier of all time. First, I got to put my little side-by-side here in the garage. A rainstorm is coming, and I don't want it to get all drenched like the last time I left it out in the rain. And we'll talk about my favorite amp of all time.
Hey, muscles.
My favorite amplifiers of all time, Past Labs XA60.8s. I reviewed them a year ago, maybe more, I don't even remember. I've had them out of the system all summer because they run a little warm and my listening room is not piped into our AC, but I just reinstalled the XA60.8s in my reference system. Past Labs sent me an XP22 preamp to test out with them. And holy wow, I did not realize how much I missed those amps in the system until I put them back in the system. You know how sometimes you have a piece of gear and you listen to it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and then you sell that piece of gear because you think you want to upgrade, and then you end up missing the gear you sold, right? Well, I didn't sell these Past Labs XA60s. They're here long term. And I just set them to the side. I was enjoying other amps I was reviewing, the Enlium Amp 23R, for example, the little integrated. And I put these Past Labs back in and boom, it's like, boom, the size is just bigger, right? The bass foundation is massive, but it's tight. The mid-range is about as beautiful as you're going to hear. The top end is not strident or edgy or forward. It's sweet and it's magical. And I think that XP22 preamp is bringing out the best of these amps because they didn't sound this good before. It made me realize that the Past Labs XA60.8s are my favorite amps of all time because they offer everything I look for in music reproduction. It's faithful to the recording. You get to hear all the details in the recording, but they come out as softer, they have a glow to them, they're kind of ethereal, and they're not mushy or dull or bloated in any way. They just sound sweet, right? As I said, the bass is just a solid foundation. Have you ever hooked up an amp and you turn on your music and you're like, the bass could be better? It seems like the mid-range and treble is more of the focus here. Well, with these amps, you're getting that big bass foundation. You're getting the solid weight to the music. And they look beautiful to boot. Now, these things do run warm. If you're in a place where there's 90 degree, 100 degree summers, and you don't have really good air conditioning in your room, they're gonna make you sweat when you listen to them. But if you live in a cooler climate or you have great AC, oh man, these are some magical amps. Now, having them back in the system, as I said, has been kind of a revelation to me because I've been listening to other amps over the past 6 months or so, and I was like, these are just as good, right? And it's smaller and it's lighter. No, when I put the Past Labs amps back in, I just heard that magic again and what made me fall in love with the brand in the first place. I've talked about Past Labs before on this channel, how they're great customer service, how they're made in America, how they're beautiful with that blue glowing light. They're reliable as all get out. There's amps from ages ago. They're just now being sent into Past Labs for a checkup. I have a cat down here meowing, wanting my attention, and some birds behind me making some noises. But Past Labs amps just deliver the goods. Yeah, they're heavy. Yeah, they're big. These are monoblocks. But if you want to hear that magical, beautiful sound, these are the definition of magic to me. Now, I've heard amps that cost more. I've heard amps that cost less. Now, amps that cost more, there's some other brands that are really well known, and they are more known for other things, right? Like more detail. You're going to have a more emphasis on the treble instead of the mid-range, for example. There's amps that help to dissect every piece of information in music, and some of you prefer that kind of sound. What Past Labs brings to the table is that humanity, and you've heard me talk in the past about amps and gear, music even, that touches your heart and soul. Past Labs is not only the definition of magic, in my opinion, but they're the definition of touching your heart and soul. And I don't say this lightly. I've heard a lot of gear in my life, and this combo of the XA60.8s and the XP22 are just stunning. I can't imagine anyone being disappointed as long as you pair it with speakers that have some good synergy, right? So I right now have those in the system with the DCS Lena DAC, the DCS Master Clock for the Lena, some Shunyata cables hooking them up. I have a pair of Alpha Clock 75 and a pair of Omega Clock 75s. And yes, cables make a difference. They make a difference. It's night and day in some cases. So cables make a difference. I'm running my Fleetwood DeVille SQs. Those are hooked up with some Cardus Clear Reflection speaker cables. And right now I'm using Cardus Clear Reflection XLRs as well. But I just wanted to say I've reinstalled those XA60.8s in the system. Some of you have asked where they went. They're still here. They're still making music, and they're as beautiful as ever. I'm going to have a review soon on the XP22 preamp, and I'll compare it to the XP12 and even the older XP10. But I'll tell you right now, the XP10 and the XP12 were more similar than different. The XP12 had lower noise floor, and the XP22 is just more transparency, more air, more three-dimensionality, which is another thing Past Labs excels at. But I'll talk about all that later. Updates as far as reviews. I did post my written review for the DCS Lena Clock at my website. I'll post a link to that in the description below if you want to check it out. But yeah, I'm loving Past Labs, and I'm realizing again just how magical they are after putting them back in the system. I'm going to have to find a way to get some cooling in that room where I can listen to them next summer as well, because it's going to be mighty hard for me to take them out of the system now. So that's why the Past Labs XA60.8s are my favorite amplifier of all time. Class A, Class A, Class A beauty, Class A glow, Class A warmth, Class A bass. It's just beautiful. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back really soon with a new review. I love you all, and I'll see you then. Bye.